you know that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? Yet if you go on social media, everyone's traveling to Europe, driving a new car, and eating out at the fanciest restaurants. Like, what's really going on? So in this video, I'm gonna reveal exactly how looking poor will make you rich, how you can fit into a society that values looking successful on the outside, and how to handle the challenges of being treated differently. But first, have you ever wondered why the richest people don't actually dress like they're rich? And it starts with a big misconception that rich people are careless with money. But it's quite the opposite, because people who made a lot of money also understand how hard it is to earn it and also have a very deep respect for it. Like, take Mark Zuckerberg, for example. You often see him in a hoodie and jeans. While some might argue that this is his signature style, the real reason is that his desire is to minimize the daily decisions and just preserve mental energy for more important matters. And the same goes for Steve Jobs with this iconic black turtleneck. But if I showed you a picture of them in plain t-shirts alongside others, you just wouldn't be able to tell them apart. And that's because their focus isn't on showing off their wealth. Instead, they're prioritizing making smart financial decisions and investing in what truly matters to them. And that's because everyone has a limit of money to a certain degree, so you have to prioritize what's truly important to you. So would you rather have financial freedom to do whatever you want with your time and energy? Or would you prefer driving the newest sports car? Would you rather have a comfortable retirement or the latest luxury bag? And there's no right or wrong answer here, because it's all about preferences. But wealthy individuals have figured out that the more money that they spend on materialistic stuff, the less money that they have working for them. Another good example is Kawhi Leonard, who's one of the best NBA players when healthy. He's worth around $120 million, but still drives a 1997 Chevy Tahoe. Why? As he puts it, it runs and is paid off. And Warren Buffett, who's worth $140 billion, still lives in the same house that he bought in 1958 for $31,500, which is about $340,000 in today's money. So success isn't always flashy, and many wealthy folks choose to live modestly. And I'll argue that this approach of living like they're poor is a big reason why they're able to grow their wealth and keep more of it. But on the other hand, you see the opposite trend, where poor people dress like they're rich. Because according to global data, Americans with household incomes of less than $50,000 make up 27% of regular luxury consumers. And that's as almost big as the percentage of luxury consumers with incomes of $150,000 or more. And during the pandemic, this trend intensified, where Americans across the income spectrum bought more luxury apparel. But purchases by those making $40,000 or less rose the most, up 360% by the end of 2021 compared to the previous year. So the next time you see someone dressing modestly, remember, it might just be the sign of how they're building wealth instead of showing it off. So lesson number one is, ironically, rich people dress poor while poor people dress rich. So coming out of college, I felt like I was making the least amount of money compared to my friends and peers. And many of them were starting their careers with the salaries of $70,000 to $80,000, and some were even breaking six figures right out of school. And in comparison, my first job at a major bank paid me $60,000, which is around 20 to 40% less than what others were getting paid. Okay, I mean, we were doing different things at different companies, but stick with me here. While $60,000 is a lot of money and still above the median income in the US, I couldn't help but feel disappointed when I compare myself to others. But this might have been a blessing in disguise for me that I just didn't realize at the time. And because of my lower salary, I didn't think I could afford to live on my own, especially in an expensive place like New York City. So I decided to live at home to save some money and also help out my mom by contributing to her rent. And obviously it turns out to be a win-win situation where I pay less in rent while my mom benefited from the extra support. And on top of that, I got to eat my mom's home-cooked meals. Like, how can you lose there? And since my monthly costs were already low, I started to adopt this mindset of looking and living like I'm poor and just seeing how far I could really take it. And what motivated me was seeing how much I was able to save at the time. And I just started to make this conscious effort to live far below my means. So I avoided shopping for new and expensive clothes and skipped out on pricey dinners or activities. And when friends invited me to do something that cost a lot of money, I would simply say, I'm too broke. And just focus on maintaining a simple lifestyle. And obviously I would still come out for special occasions, but it just didn't make sense for me to just go out every weekend. And even though I had extra disposable income that I could have spent, I just chose not to. And at the same time, I saw those same friends making a lot more money than I was, ultimately saving less. And that's because they just had a higher cost of living to afford their lifestyle, like living in nice apartments in Manhattan, traveling abroad, and dining out frequently. And I'm not saying I'm better than them at any point. I'm just saying that our priorities were a lot different. So everything that they were making was just quickly coming out of their bank accounts almost as soon as it came in. And I even had a friend who used up all of his savings just so that he could use it as a security deposit for a luxury apartment. And that's when I learned the second lesson, where it's not about how much money that you make, it's about how much money that you keep. And by choosing to live simply and avoiding flashy displays, I was able to save more money while others are spending everything that they earn. So lesson 2 is to embrace the mindset of looking poor, to build wealth, prioritize simplicity over showing off, and just to avoid unnecessary expenses. But how can someone embrace this mindset of looking poor if you're bombarded with social pressures to fit in and just chase after luxury? And a few years ago, I was traveling in Europe and I would post daily on social media to show off to others about what I was doing and eating. And people would message me that they're jealous of what I got to do there. And then a weird thing started to happen. While I was experiencing these awesome things like going to Rome or Barcelona, I started to think about what pictures I want to start posting to get the most amount of likes and comments. Weird, I know. And instead of living the present and enjoying the moment, I was just somewhere else mentally. But I also want to ask you, how do you feel when you look at your friends' social media posts and stories? Like, do you feel happy and content? Do you feel enjoyment? Or do you feel envious that someone got to take 2 weeks off to go to Asia? Or maybe you feel pressure because another one of your acquaintances got engaged or married? And do you feel resentful that you just didn't get invited to a party or a wedding? And I'm not sure if it's just me, but besides all the funny memes online, I rarely ever feel good about myself when I use social media. And I just feel jealous, annoyed, and just discontentment. And I feel like I'm just missing out. That's when I realized that social media didn't really do much good for me, whether I was posting my life online or just scrolling. So the best thing that I did was just to remove and delete my social media apps, because they say out of sight, out of mind. And I find this to be the best way to remove myself from this whole comparison game. And also stop contributing to the whole scheme, because I also wouldn't want someone to feel bad about their life just because they're looking at the big few highlights of my life. And in a comparison game with the best curated versions of people's lives, you almost lose no matter what, and you'll never win. And the lesson 3 is to remove yourself from the game, and you won't ever feel bad about looking or living like you're poor if there isn't a constant nagging feeling that you're missing out or falling behind, when in reality, you probably aren't. Now, it's completely normal to feel like there's got to be downsides or risk of looking poor, because at the end of the day, we want to be liked and respected by those around us. And I saw this very interesting clip of Gary Vee showing how we would often spend our money to just do just that.
Why do you own a BMW?
Because I love the car, just the brand, and I love driving it, so I don't know.
So to me, that's where it gets interesting, right? Do you, or do you like what the brand does to make you look to other people? I don't know. I'm not assuming.
I know,
I don't
you have
know.
a point. You have a point.
I don't know you, but I know in the macro that 98% of people that buy a Mercedes or BMW likes what it makes other people think of them, not that they like it.
And I think a lot of people do this where they buy a certain car or go to a prestigious school or go into a nice career because we believe people would instantly respect us if we do. And I think the hardest part about looking poor is that you almost have to actively go against what society tells us to do with our money. And then you have to be brutally honest about how you want to start building your ideal future with your finances. So lesson number 4 is looking poor will be a challenge in the beginning, but building your ideal future for you and your family is always worth it. And at the end of the day, looking poor isn't just about saving money, because it's only teaching you how to save your money. But you also need to know what you're chasing after. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how the FIRE movement completely changed my life and just gave me a sense of directions in life. So make sure you check out that next, and I'll see you guys there. Peace.